It's the first day of the Tory party conference and Kemi Badenoch has already come out against the net zero agenda. Is it because that the Tories are already preparing for another leadership election? There's already been a lot of talks over the last day or two again about thinking about replacing Rishi Sunak. The Tories seem to be accepting that they are going to lose the election, even though publicly the official line from the government is, oh, we're going to win the election, everything's going to be fine. But it seems to be the grassroots of the Tory party and the parliamentary party are already thinking about replacing Rishi after losing to Keir Starmer. So we have a lot of potential candidates. Or maybe this is just genuine. Maybe this is just Kemi Badenoch doing the right thing. She's come out once again to speak out against the net zero program, especially the militant, aggressive targets that we have had. Even her current boss, Rishi Sunak, has been forced to abandon some of those, delay some of those targets, haven't they? Most of this goes back to Theresa May, or Treason May, because she was the one who made the 2050 targets for net zero a legal obligation to turn them into legislation, and since then every prime minister had to be forced to follow it. And but it's like they haven't told them. If something becomes law, you can also scrap the law. You can, or amend it. But it seems like they are so scared of the consensus that's been created in the establishment, thanks to the mainstream media narrative, that if they're so scared of saying, well, we are now against net zero, and that they will lose the election. That's what they think. So, and it could be possible that they would get destroyed by the Liberal side. Anyway, Kemi Badenoch says we have to remember that we are only 1% of the world emissions. If we bankrupt ourselves trying to get there, we won't achieve net zero. We will also be in a worse position in terms of tackling climate change. So this sort of stuff has been mentioned in the previous leadership election for the Tory party. But the interesting thing was that people like Rishi Sunak seem to be rejecting this. But now Rishi Sunak is on the surface doing the exact same thing anyway. This is why those who supported the Tory party in the past are thinking, well, we got all the promises before. How do we trust them? Even if a Tory candidate comes out and says the right things, can we trust them? I personally would say no. And we kept falling for it every single time. But at some point, there's going to be a good, solid Conservative, right? Trying to be a Tory leader. But because everybody else in the past have been letting their supporters down, they might actually not get the support because nobody trusts them anymore. Anyway, this is the media headlines that have been changing recently. For example, the narrative is changing. Will net zero make you broke? Here's all the support on offer to make the switch. This is the big issue. We got this headline saying, yes, we really need a debate about the full cost of net zero. And again, we have headlines like, has the true cost of net zero finally been revealed? As you can see, the narrative is slowly changing. There is now a forceful debate about the cost of net zero and the legitimacy of the agenda, which wasn't allowed to be had before. Until quite recently, you weren't even allowed to talk about the cost. You weren't even allowed to question it. I think the tide is turning a little bit. Don't be too optimistic thinking that's it. We've defeated the globalist elite or whatever. No. But at least this is a good start. That we are seeing U-turns left, right and center. In Sweden, we've seen U-turns. In Germany, we've seen U-turns. Technically here, we've seen tiny U-turns, even though they are only doing it because of the next election. But they still matter. They are still a little bit of a U-turn. Not on everything. I'm not talking about delaying the target. I'm talking about completely rejecting some of the ideas, including 15-minute cities or low traffic neighborhoods and all that nonsense, or ULEZ. But I think if we continue to push, we could see some positive result in the future. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.